This is Colorful Radio. Our music, our news, our views.
So that was Do What You Gotta Do by the fabulous Angie Stone. And I'm now joined by Ayanna Witter-Johnson. Morning or afternoon?
Afternoon, darling.
How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
Do you know, I always begin asking my guests what or who do they appreciate today? And I'm going to ask you that same question.
Today, I appreciate good health and great company.
Lovely. You are a composer, musician, singer, and so much more. When did you realise that you wanted to carve out a career in music?
It's always interesting, this question and this idea that you decide what your career is going to be. My feeling, because I've always been a musician, I've never had a 9-to-5 or a sort of job, inverted commas. So, well, that's not true. I spent a month at Marks and Spencer's when I was 16. But apart from that, which I enjoyed actually, I really enjoyed it. Apart from that, I've just followed my gut instinct on what I'd like to do. So I started playing a musical instrument at 4, but I think I had a musical ear before that because I had a cassette of Sweet Honey in the Rock that my mum bought me and Terence Trent D'Arby, and I could sing both of those from beginning to end.
Wow.
And she took me to see Sweet Honey in the Rock when I was about 3, and I sat there and sang along with everything, and the woman in front was like, how does she know all these words?
Wow.
My mum was like, she listens to the tape. So I've always enjoyed performing. I went to theatre schools, etc. growing up. So I've always been a performer, and I'm pretty much doing the same thing I've always done, except getting paid for it now.
You know, today the topic is about staying in love. And as you heard in the lead up to me saying that you're going to be on a show, I mentioned that it's really like, how do you stay in love when you are in an environment where it's almost like if you're not doing commercial music, then how do you survive? And then because you're not getting paid to do what you do and do what you love on a regular basis, like, how do you survive?
But I do get paid to do what I do on a regular basis. That's the thing.
That's the key.
Yeah.
But has it always been like that, though?
Well, when you're in a sort of educational stage, you need to get experience. You need to do things maybe for free or not as much money. But when you develop and you build your network of people and the types of venues you play in, you command your fee, essentially. You know, you say, I'm not doing that because that's not value for, it's not value for both people involved. So if people want a good product or a good performance, then the exchange for that is, it can be monetary, it can be other things, but there has to be an equal and valuable exchange so that both parties can bring their best to the situation.
Brilliant. I'm so glad you said that. And with that comes self-worth. It's about you yourself knowing the value you are giving and also knowing how much time you put into doing what you love.
Yeah. There is so much that happens before you go on stage. Like that's just the last little bit. Even sound check and getting there, the actual performance is the smallest sort of portion of your time in relation to the preparation. So yes, you say no, and then after a while people don't ask you to do certain things. They recognize your value and they know they're not going to be able to ask you to do that for free.
Brilliant. So you set the bar. You set the bar. So regarding inspiration, you said the passion and belief that music is a positive change in our global community inspires you to create. Now, I read this on your website and was really intrigued by it. Can you elaborate on it?
My feeling is that we all have the opportunity to connect to our higher selves. For me, singing, and for a lot of people who sing from the soul, I think that's a direct channel to your higher self. So for some people, it's taking recreational substances. These things are very much shortcuts to a higher state of being. But for some people, that's music. And especially when you combine that powerful connection with the message, you have the opportunity to access people's hearts and people's souls. So when I come off stage and people talk to me, it's always for them an emotional experience. And that way, I think little by little you can affect change. You can kind of bring to people or allow them to recognize themselves, recognize a part of their souls. That's the good work.
Oh, love it. Really love that. Now, you also mentioned that your aim is to create original material that is as close as an authentic reflection to yourself as possible. Now, how easy or difficult is it to say, this is who I am, and not to let what others think affect you?
It's definitely a journey to do that. I think that's the beautiful part. It's more between you and you, between me, myself, and I, as opposed to writing what other people expect of me. Can I be honest with myself and put that in the music? So that's my personal journey, and I'm trying to become more open with myself. Performing for other people and sharing with other people has always been not an easy part, but something I'm comfortable with. But revealing what you think to yourself when you're aware of what you want other people to perceive, that's the journey.
How did you, and this is probably going to be a really redundant question, very hard to answer, but how did you come to this place? Because you are so anchored. I think you're so aware. So what influenced you to get to this place?
I think having the mother that I do definitely sowed particular seeds early on. So we talk about a lot of things. We're very open. There's not much that she doesn't know about me, and vice versa. But she always approached things from a spiritual perspective. And I think because of that, I've been open to this idea of self-awareness. Like I remember when she started really getting into Ayanna Witter-Johnson.
I love Ayanna Witter-Johnson.
I love her too. I do love her. I remember she had the books in the house, and she would, I think she went to see her when she came to London once. And so I've been aware of these people who talk about self-awareness and forgiveness. And even if I didn't understand it then, as a child, I've been, conscious of it.
Oh, amazing. I love it. Now, when I reached out to you to be on today's show, I really racked my brain to try and remember when we first met. And I think it was way back in 2006. I was hosting a music event in Deptford, and you were there along with Paloma Faith. And I remember that I was baffled that then both of you were not signed. And I just couldn't believe how these two talented musicians were just not signed. I mean, some things have changed now, which is amazing. But I was also blown away by the fact that you play the cello, and then you started playing the keyboard, and then you started using the cello as a drum, and then you changed it up to make it sound like a I was like, who is this woman? Who is this woman? And now, you are successful in your own right. However, how do you stay in love with what you do when rejection, politics, and so much more can act as potential obstacles?
Yeah, the key is to focus on everything that is positive and that is nourishing. So for me, when I perform for people, be it 5 people in a room or 500, it's the pure positive energy that I know I'm giving to the audience and the feedback I get back. So it's like a two-way process, and all those interactions and all those messages that I get from people who feel encouraged by my journey, those things make me, that's why we're doing this, is for us to all connect to each other. So if that's alive, then things are good. If that doesn't exist, then maybe you need to relook at the picture. But I feel like there's always a good connection with the audience, and that's the core part of why I enjoy doing it.
So that for you is the love. And I know I'm just throwing this out here now, but how would you describe love? Sorry. Because I'm just really intrigued with your take on it, because as I said before, you are really anchored. You have, I think, a different perspective in regards to, life and maybe how it works. So it'd be just really interesting to hear.
I think love is the purest connection to your source energy.
Simple. Love it. Thank you. Now, you've worked with many people, composed original pieces and travelled to various places around the world. However, can you cast your mind back to a moment that you consider to have made a significant contribution to the person you are today? Sorry.
You're going in with these questions.
I'm sorry, honey.
Going in. Okay, so I'll give you one turning point. One turning point was I had a place to study at Cambridge and I didn't make the grades I needed to go. I thought my life was over. So in that year in between A-levels and going to music college, a good friend of mine from secondary school said that her friend's boyfriend at the time was running a jam session at the jazz cafe and that I should go and I should perform, and it's a jazz event.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't really know much about jazz. I went, and then she said, go on stage, you should sing something. And I hadn't really owned being a singer at the time either. I said, well, I really don't know I don't know any of these songs. I said, I know what, I'll write something and I'll come back. 3 weeks later, I came back with this like Nina Simone song, piano part, singing. I invited all my friends and family, even my ex-boyfriend's parents and him. Like everyone was there. And then I said to the guy running it, okay, I've got this song. I'd like to perform it. And he goes, what song is it? I said, it's my own song. He says, we don't really do original songs here. We do jazz standards. And I was like, but all my friends and family are here. I've got to perform. And he goes, okay, just this one time. So I pretty much cleared the stage.
Wow.
Did this solo piano, piece singing. And it just went down like, a storm.
Yeah.
And then after that, my stepdad said, you should study music.
Wow.
Yeah. You should not do French or whatever it is you want to do. You should study music. So that was one of many turning points.
So the rejection was almost a blessing in disguise.
Absolutely.
And that's normally how it happens sometimes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Panther is your second EP, and I love the simplicity of the video. And also that picture. Hello. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go onto my timeline. It's at @IAM_Lisa Ben. It's just a very natural picture in all its sense of Ayanna, and it's just really beautiful. Can you describe the theme of the EP?
Yeah, the EP is an ode and somewhat meditation to my feminine journey and my ancestry.
Wow. Okay, can you extend further?
Yeah, so there's a cover of Bill Withers' Grandma's Hands on there, and I dedicate that to my grandma when I perform that. Women who have made an impact in my life. So Black Panther is a love story that also tells the story of my perhaps great grandmother who was taken from Africa and taken to the Caribbean somewhere. So there's going way back. There's kind of appreciating the past, appreciating the present, reflecting on love, unrequited love, universal love, and domestic abuse. Denied was inspired by Nigella Lawson's story, actually. So it's looking at femininity from a few different angles and honouring stories. Would you say some of the stories are also influenced by your own experiences? Yes. Or are you more of an observer? I'm to a degree, part observer and part... sometimes I feel very empathetic. If I feel emotionally connected to a story, then it's easy for me to sort of own that. So my composition, Ain't I a Woman, using Sojourner Truth's speech, somehow I felt connected to that story. Even Sting's Roxanne, that song's lived with me a long time now.
Listen, when you... I've seen a video of you playing that. Oh my God. I love most instruments, but the violin's my favourite. So when you're playing the cello, almost like it's a violin, listen, that just... yeah. It's amazing.
So yeah, I feel very connected to emotional stories, and I wanted to share that with my audience.
It's felt. Trust me when I say it's very much felt. So what else do you have coming up this year, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, this year there's a really nice mixture of Ayanna the composer. I'm writing a piece for 4 harps at the minute, a mini opera.
Hello.
And I'm focusing on my debut album. So all the songs are there, and I'm really putting my composer head on and writing string arrangements and arranging the songs in such a way that they work as a story and a journey. So this year is a big year in that sense. And there are a few other exciting projects in the pipeline, but I can't talk about those right now.
That's fine, Ayanna. Hello, I'm trying to get exclusives here and you're just playing with my emotions. No, that's fine. Well, you just have to come back on the show and tell me all about them. Do you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a collaboration with you and Laura Mouvler.
Yeah, I played with Laura. She had a gig last year in summer, and I joined her band for a show in Italy, which was lovely.
Wow.
So that, was a lovely highlight from last year.
Maybe again?
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, listen, honey, it was lovely catching up with you again and speaking to you today. And I wish you all the best with your upcoming projects, even the ones that you can't express on the show today. That's fine. And your continuation with your journey, which is actually lovely to see. So thank you.
Thank you for having me and for having such a great show.
Thank you, my lovely. So I'm going to leave you guys at home with a track which is called Black Panther, which is what Ayanna just described. Enjoy it. It's amazing. And I'll see you next week. Take care. Goodbye.
You made a journey across the sea, looking for numbers, but you found me. When you first saw me, how did you feel? Not quite the picture of what you dreamed, like a black panther